Valley Sports Talk is now brought to you by Big Shiny Windows, the Valley's clear choice for professional window cleaning, providing residential and commercial window cleaning along with siding and eavesdrop cleaning since 2004. Check out the link below for more information on episode number 59 of the Valley Sports Talk podcast. On today's episode, I lied to you guys last week, actually, now that I think about it. I told you the next 2 weeks we were going to have an interview, but we had to reschedule one. So you'll get, if everything goes to plan, there'll be one next week and the week after. So we're just moving that back. But on today's episode, we're going to talk about some NFL. We're going to give our way too early rest of the awards. We already did our MVP picks a couple weeks ago. Now we're going to do the rest of them. I think we're going to talk about some NBA as Kevin Durant situation kind of calmed down, and maybe we'll do a bit of talking about that. But as always, Brandon, how are you?
I'm good. Not much to update on. Haven't done too much other than there's been a lot of fantasy football going on recently, which I'm sure we'll get into. But there's been a lot of fantasy football.
For sure.
It's so exciting. Football's back, baby.
Yep, we got one more preseason game, and then we are finally into week one. So finally something to do on Sundays.
Yeah, really.
Not something to do, something to watch.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what do you want to jump into first? You want to jump into standings or awards, or do you want to talk about fantasy?
You pick, man. Whatever you think.
Let's go over awards. Those will be quick, and then we can jump into what we think some standings will look like in the AFC and NFC. Like I said, we already did MVPs a couple weeks ago, so we will do Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Sounds good to me.
You want to go offense first? We'll do Offensive Player and then Offensive Rookie.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. My full-on just Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Christian McCaffrey. I already said I think he is going to be healthy this year. I'm obviously banking on a healthy season from Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if I actually believe he's going to be healthy, or it's just I want to see it so bad. But when this man plays, he is a dominant force in passing, in catching, in rushing, and he's a touchdown beast. I know if we're not talking about fantasy right now, but we just did a fantasy draft, and one of our friends took Christian McCaffrey number 1, and I probably would have done that too. I think if he's healthy and he plays a full season, he puts up better numbers than Jonathan Taylor, and I think I'm gonna pick Christian McCaffrey as my Offensive Player of the Year.
I'm actually gonna pick a hot take. I am gonna go Austin Eckler.
I like it.
I'm very high on the Chargers this year. I did pick Justin Herbert to be my MVP. So I think if you have an MVP quarterback, why can't you not have Austin Eckler absolutely break out, even though he already has broken out, and be able to have an Offensive Player of the Year type season? He can catch the ball and he can run the ball. And if he can just do that and stay healthy for all 18 games, I don't see why he cannot have a chance to win Offensive Player of the Year.
For sure.
All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
See, this is tough. It's like you never know who is going to get the most play time. I was thinking of going Breece Hall with the Jets, but Michael Carter seemed pretty good.
I saw the notification, same one you're thinking.
Yeah, so I was gonna go Breece Hall, and then I saw Michael Carter's playing well. They still view him as the number 1, so I feel like Breece Hall is such a good player in his own that he will end up with the starting role, but I don't think it'll be for a while, so he might not break out for a while. I'm actually going to go Sky Moore for wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he was in line to be the number 3 wide receiver, but Juju's been out with his knee.
Juju's on pace to play week 1.
But yeah, I know. But a knee is a knee, even if you're playing knee's pretty easy to re-aggravate. Will he hurt it again? Is he fully back? He just seemed to have a little bit of problems. I mean, Valdez-Scantling, although a veteran wide receiver, he's never proven to be a number one. So I do feel like there's a number one wide receiver role out there, and if Sky Moore can grab it, he with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, he could definitely break out.
So mine was down to two players. If Kenny Pickett were to start, I honestly think he should. He looks so good in the preseason. He's got the highest QB rating in all the preseason. If I was the Steelers, he would be my day one starter over Mitch. I
That's
don't
the
know.
problem. I don't think he will though.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I mean. That's what I mean. If he was starting, he would be my pick. But I'm
same.
actually gonna go maybe a bit of bias. I'm gonna go Drake London. I think he's
Oh, fair
other
enough.
than him and Kyle Pitts, he's the only other option, only other big name option in the Atlanta. And from what I've seen in his tapes um in the training camp, he looks to be very good. He's a very physical player. He's one of those guys that can go up and make plays. He doesn't have burner speed. He's not a bunch of a deep threat. He's just a big physical receiver. And I feel like with quarterbacks like Mariota, and even if Desmond Ridder does earn some starting time down the line, I think that he can be a guy with Kyle Pitts they can rely on, and I think he should have some good numbers for the Falcons.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I could see that happening too. I went with Patrick Mahomes over Marcus Mariota, but like you
That's
said,
fair. That's very fair. I also really like. I also really like.
who else do
Um,
you want to have is a good point.
I also consider putting Garrett Wilson in there.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing
He's
is,
he
again,
looks he looks
point
pretty
of that.
good
And
so
there's
far.
actually for a bad Jets team, there's a lot of options at wide receiver. So I'm a little worried there, but the
Maybe
good
yeah.
point
There's
is
no usually either go. Last year went to Jamar, but Jamar just had a wicked season. Most of the time you'd think it would go to a quarterback, but there's really no guaranteed starting quarterbacks from this draft class. You got Pickett, you got Malik Willis, and you got Desmond Ridder, and they're all the only two. I can't see Malik Willis starting behind Ryan Tannehill, obviously in Tennessee. Kenny Pickett would be my day one starter if I was Pittsburgh, and then I think Mariota gets the first couple weeks, and if all of a sudden they're not doing well, I don't see why Desmond Ridder wouldn't slide in as a starter, maybe week 6, 7, somewhere around there. But so it's a tough choice, and there's so many top end receivers. Like this is a very good receiving class. There's so many different options. Like I could have went Chris Olave. I could have went Jamison Williams, even though he's probably gonna miss 1 or 2 weeks. I could have went Traylon Burks and from Tennessee. Like there were so many different receiver options that I could go with, and usually receiver doesn't get it because running backs get lots of touches and quarterbacks have the ball in their hand, and there's so many different receiving weapons. Like it was a very tough choice this year. But
it
yeah,
was. It's a crazy year for wide receivers, like you said, and a lot of them, like you're saying, got put in the good positions. Like the quarterbacks didn't really get into good positions. Like Kenny Pickett has looked amazing in through 2 weeks of preseason, and he's still the third quarterback in their depth chart right now.
yep.
And like you said, you got Sky Moore, you got Drake London. There's a bunch of these wide receivers that are in good spots that might be able to break out. Trey Burks is in Tennessee. There's no real number one. Like he's competing with Robert Woods. Um, you got Chris Olave, who, if Michael Thomas stays out, he is the number one on that Saints team. Like you said, it normally doesn't go to a wide receiver, but there's so many good opportunities out there this year. And I think that's why we both picked one.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to go
We'll go
defensive?
defensive player of the year.
Okay. I'm gonna go Myles Garrett. I feel like I feel like he could have won it, um, regardless. But I mean, I think also the Deshaun Watson, as funny as it sounds, helps him a little bit. This team with Jacoby Brissett, I don't think will be having as long of drives as you would with a guy like Deshaun Watson. So I feel like this defense will be on the field quite a bit, and we know how this guy gets to the quarterback. He could lead the league in sacks easily. Um, Very good run stopper. So yeah, with the combination of Deshaun Watson being suspended for half the season, well, more 3/4 of the season, basically, this defense will be on the field a lot, and he'll make quite a few plays for them.
He was my second choice, but I ended up going with second year linebacker Micah Parsons.
I like it. I
I
like
like
it.
him. He's sort of a dual threat. He is considered a middle linebacker, but he had like I think he had close to double-digit sacks. If not, he did have double-digit sacks last year coming off the edge. And usually as a middle linebacker, they are more a coverage linebacker, which he can also do. He's sort of a jack-of-all-trades linebacker, and I really like, after his rookie year, being DPOY Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he can take the next step and win awards in back-to-back years and be the Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, you got to consider putting TJ Watt in there. He just did tie the sack record. And probably the best defensive player of all time, Aaron Donald.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I like the pick too. I think he could definitely have a big season, just like last year. Moving on to defensive rookie, I feel like this is the boring pick. We haven't agreed on one yet, but I feel like this might be the one we do agree on. I have Aiden Hutchinson. Do you have Aiden Hutchinson?
Nope.
No. Okay, I like it. Obviously, he played for Michigan. He's on the Lions now. Again, sort of similar to Myles Garrett. This defense is going to be on the field quite a bit. He's a big boy, obviously. I mean, he's a D lineman. They're all big. But he's pretty quick for his size. I mean, last year at Michigan, 62 tackles, 14 sacks in one season, two forced fumbles. This guy's just all around, hard to stop, blocks the run really well, gets to your quarterback. And like I just said, he's going to have a lot of time on the field this year on a Detroit team that I think is going to be better than people think. But again, they won't be fighting for a playoff spot. So
my pick is actually the number 1 overall pick in the draft, Trayvon Walker. He's a finesse pass rusher. And I think that he got put in a better situation than Aiden Hutchinson. On the Jacksonville defensive line, you also have Josh Allen lining up against you. So you have to worry about him as well as Trayvon Walker, where in the Detroit defense, I don't even know who the other rush end would be.
I don't either.
I don't know. So I feel like teams are going to be more keen to double Aiden Hutchinson whenever you're playing Jacksonville. I don't think you can double Trayvon Walker because you have to worry about Josh Allen as well. And that is the main reason why I went with Trayvon Walker, because I think he's going to have more one-on-ones where he's going to be able to use his skill to beat that tackle and get to the quarterback.
Yeah, it's a good pick as well. It's a good pick as well.
All right, let's do some 1 to 7 NFL, AFC, and NFC playoff picks.
Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot about this. NFL standings. I would like to see if I think ours is going to be a little bit different, but I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so do you want to start off in the AFC?
Let's go to the AFC.
Okay, my number 1 seed is the Buffalo Bills.
I'll join you.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. I think they are in a pretty easy division. I feel like they could go 4-2, 5-1 in this division, and then from then on, you just got to play slightly over 500 football. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, they're probably my Super Bowl pick as of right now. We won't go into who we think is going to win what in the Super Bowl because I think that's way too early. We'll just give our 1 through 7 predictions, the four division winners, and then the 3 wildcard teams.
I think the number 2 seed in the AFC will be the Baltimore Ravens.
I have the Los Angeles Chargers as my number 2 seed.
Yeah, see, I think I have them pretty low just because they have to play that division. That's 6 games against the division. I think Baltimore could easily sweep the Steelers, easily sweep the Browns, go 1-1 with the Bengals, and that's 5 wins right there. You basically just need to play 500 football from there, and you got 11 wins. So, and you have the Chargers.
I have the Chargers as my number 2 seed. Yes. I picked 2 of their players to take home personal awards this year. So if I'm high on them, I got to be high on them doing very well. So I have to feel like I kind of have to put them in as the 2 seed. Not that I have to, but I see lots of good things from this Chargers team this year. I don't know why I'm so high on them. I'm not a Chargers fan. I'm just really high on them. I don't know. I like Justin Herbert a lot.
Oh, I like them too. This might be where you disagree with me. I have the Colts as the number 3 seed.
I also have the Colts as the number 3 seed.
Okay, the only reason I have them ahead of the Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders. I have them above that whole division. The reason I have that is because I, honest to God, feel like they could be 6-0 in their own division.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. I think Tennessee is the only team that gives them troubles. Maybe Jacksonville gives them a trouble, but even then, I'm not high on Tennessee at all.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I had the Jaguars finishing second in this
Yeah,
division, so
I
I was
remember that.
sticking to that. But no, they could be 6-0, and then what? To be a 3 seed, you have to win 11 games. Like, and so you need to win 5 more games out of your 11. Like, I think that's
I think that's
definitely doable.
doable. Matty Ice at quarterback. People are disrespecting him. I still think he's a great quarterback that is able to do it. He has playoff experience. You know, he's been to the Super Bowl. Sure, his team blew a lead, but he has that experience. You have a third year running back in Jonathan Taylor. You got Michael Pittman. You got the rookie Alec Pierce. You know, you got some names, and then I didn't even talk about the defense. You got DeForest Buckner. You got Darius Leonard.
Yeah,
You got some names here. And I think that they could be a scary, maybe not Super Bowl, but scary pick to do some damage in the playoffs.
for sure. I could definitely see it, and I definitely agree. I think Matty Ice is definitely an upgrade from Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor's only getting better, and I think Michael Pittman's kind of doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's a very good player, and I think Matty Ice is going to elevate him. So my fourth team in the AFC is the LA Chargers.
Oh,
I think the LA Chargers are the second best team in the AFC. But again, they have to play the Raiders twice. They have to play the Chiefs twice. They have to play the Broncos twice. So they could be 3-3 through this division. And once they get to the playoffs, they could definitely take a deep run. But hello, whoever you're talking to, David. Um, but then, yeah, so the Chargers got to play all these teams, which is going to make for some hard football. They're going to be really tight games. I feel like they're going to be high scoring, but this could affect their record. So they might finish a little bit lower in the AFC, but by the time they get to playoffs, they'll be one of the scary teams to play against. I guess Noah is a little busy right now, but he hasn't talked about the AFC North yet. Um, and then Noah's pretty high on the Bengals. I'm pretty sure he's picking them to come out of the division. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to move on to my wild card. My first wild card team is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, the AFC West is so stacked. They got to play each other so many times. I think that's just going to hurt their record. The Bengals play the Browns twice, the Steelers twice. They could definitely get 4 wins there. I think they'll split with the Ravens. So there's 5 of their wins right there. To be a wild card team, you basically got to win 9 games. So they just got to win 4 more games in the regular season. And with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you got Joe Mixon. This offensive line's way better. I just feel like the Bengals will be the first wild card team.
sorry, I'm back.
You're back. I had to ramble.
It was the sponsor. The sponsor was interrupting.
Oh, I said hi, David. It wasn't even David.
No, it was
Um,
I had my volume off, so you didn't hear anything he said. Did you
hey,
give your fourth team?
yeah, and I gave my fifth team as well. I also said I assumed you had the Bengals at 4, and I
No,
had
I had the
them.
Ravens. I have the Ravens
Oh,
winning that
do you?
division.
Okay, okay, okay.
I just have them at 4 because I feel like the Chargers, Bills, and Colts have a better record than them.
Fair enough. So I assumed you had the Bengals, but you had the Ravens. I
Ravens
had
at 4.
I had the Bengals as my first wild card team, and I
I have
walked
the
through it
I have the
already.
Chiefs as my first wild card team.
Okay. Do you want to walk through the Chiefs?
You know, they lost Tyreek Hill last year. I think they were a 2 seed. Not that I don't think, obviously, Tyreek Hill, I think he's a top 3 receiver in the league right now. But I think that if receiver, maybe not receiver, but it's next to running back, it's the most replaceable position in football. I think all you got to do is, like, they replaced him in Sky Moore. You brought in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think Juju's going to have a big year if he's healthy. Um, and then you still got probably the best tight end in the league, Travis Kelce. And their defense is probably the best it's ever been, in my opinion. I know they're in a hard division, and this division is probably going to be hard to win games, but I still think the Chiefs will come out with a really good record and be the first wild card team.
Yeah, I'd agree. I agree. This division is obviously really great. My second wildcard team is the Broncos, and my third one is the Chiefs. Um, I have them lower than the Bengals simply because of the division they're playing in. Like I kind of said for the Chargers, all these teams could be 3-3 in division play. Like I could see each one of them splitting with each other. Um, I'm gonna take the Broncos over the Chiefs, just because I think all around they're a little bit better. And Noah said the Chiefs have one of the best defenses they've had in a while. The Broncos defense is nothing to sleep on either. The Broncos have a really good defense. And
I'm
then
actually not too high on the Broncos defense.
no,
I don't think
oh,
it's bad. I don't think it's been better in past years.
oh for sure. I mean, in fantasy they were like one of the best defenses a couple years ago, but they won't be there now. I don't think they'll
So
force turnovers and rush the quarterback as much as they used to. But again, so you could say their defense a little bit worse than the Chiefs,
a little
but
bit worse.
I could argue the Broncos offense is better.
You
I
could
think
definitely.
uh, obviously the Chiefs have a lot of they're basically banking on they picked a lot of potential wide receivers and hoping one of them breaks out. You got Juju could break out, Valdez Scantling could break out, Sky Moore could break out. You still got like McCole Hardman could break out, hoping one of them does. Where the Broncos already have Cortland Sutton, no, he's a really good wide receiver in this league. Jerry Jeudy, I feel like has the potential to be a very good wide receiver in this league. And then you got two outstanding running backs in Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. So I'm going to put the Broncos as my second wildcard team and Chiefs at 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Bengals second wild card, and I'm gonna put the Patriots at number 7.
Broncos don't make playoffs.
Broncos don't make playoffs. I'm putting
Uh-huh.
the Patriots in because I think they can go 4-2 in their division,
Yep.
um, sweeping the Dolphins and the Jets. And then I think that if, like you said, if they can play 500 football, they'll end up with a record of probably close to 10-7 would be my guess. And
Right on.
I think that's good enough to make it over the Broncos because I think the Broncos are going to struggle a bit more than people think they're gonna.
Can this just show how stacked the AFC is?
Oh, it's stacked. You got the Browns. I would probably have them in there over the Steelers or over the Patriots and Broncos if Deshaun was playing the full season, just
Oh,
because
for
we don't know
sure.
what we're gonna get in the first half. I know we went over it last week and it was a bit of a bit of a rough um team, but I think that if Deshaun was playing the full season, I think we could consider them a playoff team. And then even the Raiders. I think the Raiders are not a team to sleep on. They're just in such a good division that has better teams. Like this
Yep.
Raiders, they've always been a 500 team, and I think they got better. The fact that I think they're going to go below 500 this year is kind of crazy.
And so we've talked about all these teams, and we haven't talked about the Titans, who, yes, they lost AJ Brown, but they also, at the end of the regular season, they didn't have Derrick Henry, and they still, I think they went 4-1 or 5-1 or 4-2 without Derrick Henry. They got Derrick Henry back. He can win ball games for you. And another team we didn't talk about is the Miami Dolphins, who, I mean, Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to improve. Obviously, that's just what happens. The longer you stay in the league, you gain experience. They got Tyreek Hill. I think Tua is going to be a little bit better. I don't think he's the elite passer that Tyreek Hill is making him sound to be, but like we can basically only rule out the Jets, like the Steelers, the Jags, and the Titans. Like that's like 4 teams you can rule out. Any other team, like you could make a case. The AFC is stacked. It's
It's
crazy.
it's it's yeah, it's burnt.
uh, it's crazy. Anyways, um, do you want to move over to the
NFC.
NFC? At number 1, I have the. Ooh, this is tricky actually. I'm gonna give it to the Rams. I still think their division's pretty good, but I think they could sweep the Seahawks. I think Trey Lance is a big wild card. We'll see how that works out. But I do think the Rams, like, they won't have any trouble with any of the NFC East teams. They probably won't have any trouble with the NFC North teams. The way the Buccaneers O line is like falling apart here. This NFC South is up for grabs. Like I just being in the NFC, I don't see the Rams having any problem coming number one.
I'm actually gonna put the Dallas Cowboys at number one. I
Dallas
don't
Cowboys
like Dallas.
leader.
You know I don't like Dallas, so this pains me to put them at number one. I looked at their schedule and they have a pretty easy schedule because it's America's team, so the NFL has to give them an easy schedule. And I think they're a good team. As much as it pains me to say, I think they have a really good team and a sneaky team. Doesn't mean that they're gonna do anything with this number one seed. I just think they're gonna finish as the number one seed.
Fair enough.
That's one of those gut feelings. That's like I got absolutely no stats or anything to back it up. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that I don't like the Cowboys, even though I don't. It's just I don't trust them. They've been in this easy division for years now, and they've won the division, but they haven't put up like crazy win totals, and they find ways to lose games. So uh, it's
That's
so
fair.
tough. It's so tough. I'm debating between putting. Do I want to put the Cowboys too? I don't. But I'm gonna. Yeah, I guess the Cowboys are gonna go
Yeah,
too.
I didn't want to put them one.
I mean, they do find ways to blow games, but the NFC is so weak this year. I'm gonna put the Cowboys at 2 for all the reasons you put them at 1.
No reasons. Gut feeling.
Yeah, really.
My number two team is the St. Louis Rams. So basically, me and you just flip flop one and two.
LA.
I don't like San Fran or Seattle this year very much. Not that I don't think San Fran's a good team. I'm just kind of iffy on Trey Lance. And obviously Seattle's a write-off, in my opinion, this year of not making playoffs. That just leaves the Cardinals, and I think the Rams are a better team than the Cardinals, by probably a far margin. I'm not the biggest Kyler fan, and they just won the Super Bowl, and they got better after winning the Super Bowl. So I think that not having them as their division winner is a crime.
Fair enough. My number 3 team. This is the NFC is tough, man.
The NFC is tough, but it's so bad.
I think 2 weeks ago, I probably would have put the Bucks as the 2 seed. But now I think they're going to drop to 4 for me. I'm going to put the Packers at 3, actually. Yes, they've lost Devonte Adams, but I think
Yes.
I am not liking what I'm seeing in Tampa Bay. These guys are dropping like flies. Godwin's already have problems this season. Evans has had problems this season.
Evans has issues at the start of the season every year.
I know, but like for him, but he always has issues, but he never misses time. He's actually missing time. I know it's preseason, but still, he's not practice. I think he's back to practice now, but he wasn't practicing. They scare me. They scare me a lot. So I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people pick the Saints to win this division, actually. So I'm gonna go Packers. I still think. I mean, Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. They're gonna get 2 wins there. I think they still win 2 against the Lions. They always split with the Vikings, so that's 5 wins there. And then the rest of the NFC is so weak that they'll find ways to win games. Their defense is really good. Aaron Rodgers is a good clock manager, so they're not going to put up the points that they have been in the past, but they won't have to for once to win games.
Yeah, I'll join you putting the Packers 3. The only reason I'm putting them there, I think their defense is elite. I
Yeah,
am
me too.
very impressed
Yeah,
with the defense because usually in the last couple years it's been elite offense, mediocre defense. This year,
switched.
I would consider it elite defense, mediocre to good offense.
Yeah, it's totally switched.
It's totally switched, and yeah, really like their defense there.
Yeah, I'm
4.
curious to see what you say at 4. I'm still gonna go Bucks. I've learned not to bet against Tom Brady. I feel like you might pick the Saints, and I wouldn't be mad at you picking the Saints. I've seen a lot of people pick them. This O line, Tom Brady is not going to have as much time as he's used to. I think I was listening to a podcast today. They have one player right now scratched in for the starting lineup that played in the Super Bowl. The rest of them are hurt or retired. or on a different team. No, not on a different team, just retired or hurt. So I mean, they scare me, but I'm still going to pick them just because I know not to bet against Tom Brady.
The number 4 seed will be the Atlanta Falcons. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm still gonna go
Number
Bucks.
4 seed in their division, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Now you got it right. I'm still gonna go Bucks. Basically, what it came down to was quarterback for me, and it's kind of hard not to take the GOAT over Jameis Winston. Um, I don't care what type of time Tom Brady has. You know, the first year when they won the Super Bowl, they didn't have a very good O line, and they won the Super Bowl with that. Last year, their O line got better. They did make the Super Bowl, so I don't really think it matters. Well, it matters obviously, but I don't think it matters enough about their O line not being hurt that it won't hurt them for winning.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna keep the Bucks winning their division. But at the same time, the Saints get hot and Jameis comes out the way he played last year before tearing his ACL. The Saints could probably take this division with ease.
yeah, and for that reason, the Saints are going to be my first wild card. I feel like, again, it's a really easy division. You got the Falcons, you got the Panthers. The Saints have had the Bucks number since Tom Brady's joined. Um, this defense for the Saints, it's always going to be good. Their offense is what scares me a little bit. If, like you said, if Jameis can play like he did at the start of the year, I think Chris Olave is going to be really good. I think Michael Thomas, if he can get on the field, he's dealing with a hamstring again. Classic Michael Thomas, like getting hurt, missing time again. If he can get on the field and play like 2 years ago, this team could be very good. So,
You also
and
got Jarvis Landry. I know he's a bit older, but I feel like people are just not mentioning his name whenever he still is a good receiver.
do you know a name I also didn't mention is Alvin Kamara?
You could be suspended for 6 games.
Yeah, but I don't. All the notifications I'm getting are that it's not going to affect this season.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. That's fair. My first wildcard team is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, I really like the Eagles offseason. I like the Jordan Davis pick out of Georgia. He looks like an absolute beast in training camps. I don't know if you saw the video of him absolutely just giving their starting right guard a absolute bus ride
I
in
did
training
actually.
camps.
I did, yeah.
He is a monster. And then they just got a top 10 receiver that whenever I had him number 8 on my list, and AJ Brown. Um, who I was really gunning for last night in our fantasy draft. Of course, he went to pick right before me. Friggin' Wayne's auto pick. He didn't join the damn draft. I was so mad about that. Anyways, I like Jalen Hurts. So I have the Eagles first wild card.
I have the Eagles second wild card. They made the playoffs last year. Obviously, had a really hot end to the season. They finished the season like 8-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they only got better. I think Jalen Hurts has got another year under his belt. Like you said, they just added a top 10 wide receiver in the league. You got a bunch of young wide receivers as well that are getting
I didn't even
another
mention
year.
Devonte Smith.
Yeah, you got Devonte Smith. I think you got three decent decent running backs. Obviously, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and then I think people forget about is it Boston Scott? Boston,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Awesome, Scott. You got him.
I mean, he every time he plays, he seems to be valuable. So yeah, this team's just very well rounded. So I mean, in this NFC, I think they're definitely a lock. I could see them beating the Cowboys even, but we'll see how that goes.
I definitely could see them beating the Cowboys. My second wild card team is going to be the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
Even though I think that this team could be way better if they got rid of even Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G would be a better quarterback
I
option.
know. I'm so torn right now between my last wild card. I don't know.
It's so tough for me too.
It's between the Vikings and Cardinals for me. I mean,
Yep. For me. It's between the Saints and Cardinals. Obviously Justin Jefferson has submitted himself as a top 5 receiver in the league. And then they added former Green Bay edge rusher Zadarius Smith to go next to Danielle Hunter if he can be healthy. They still got Eric Kendricks, one of the best middle linebackers. They got Harrison Smith, who's a bit older, but he is still a very good safety. And they got Dalvin Cook, they got Irv Smith, they got Adam Thielen, who apparently looks great. This Minnesota team is kind of flying under the radar, and I'm going to give them their credit.
I think this Minnesota team is very good, and
You're gonna give him the Kirk effect, aren't you?
No, you know what I'm going to do? Just because you said Minnesota, I'm not going to say Minnesota just so we can talk about other teams. This team does have a realistic shot of making the playoffs. This team has a realistic shot of winning the division. They brought in a new offensive coordinator, I believe, and from what I've been hearing, him and Kirk have actually gotten along really well, and I think his play style works a lot more for Kirk than the previous offensive coordinators did. That's just what I'm hearing. Obviously, play on the field will show that. A player you didn't even mention was Adam Thielen.
I mentioned him.
Did you? Sorry.
I
Okay.
said he's apparently looks the best he's looked in like 4 years.
Yeah, that scares me. So I do think they get a realistic shot, but I gotta say Cardinals just because I have Kyler Murray as my quarterback in fantasy. So I mean, for me to have any shot, he has to play well, and if he plays well, this team probably makes the playoffs. D Hop's going to miss the first 6 games, but they added another wide receiver to fill his spot while he's gone. Hollywood Brown, and I think he's going to fit that role really well. You still got James Conner, who's a beast. You got good tight end play.
Zachary Ertz,
Zachary
Eagles
Ivan.
legend.
No, I don't know what his middle name is, but
I don't know what it is either.
imagine it's Irving. But yeah, I just feel like this team's got a really good offense, and if they can not flame out in the back half of the season, if they can actually win 1, 2, or 3 games in the back half of the season, they can make a playoff run.
So your last wild card spot came down to the Vikings or Cardinals. Mine is coming down to the Saints or Cardinals. I want to go Cardinals because I don't like the Saints because they're in the NFC South. But saying that, I will go Saints. I have the Cardinals missing the playoffs just barely,
I
and
could
I have the
see it.
New Orleans Saints as the 7th seed. I'm actually a fan of Jameis. I think he's
Me
better
too.
than he actually showed. Obviously, 2 years ago, he did have a 30-30 season where he threw 30 touchdowns and 30
Then he got eye
interceptions.
surgery.
But he got eye surgery. Maybe he was blind. Um, I think this defense is what sets them apart from the Cardinals. They got two all pro, or not all pro, they got two Pro Bowl safeties and Marcus May, who came over from the Jets, and the Honey Badger, who came back to the Saints, where he started his NFL career from the Chiefs. They got Marshawn Lattimore. They got Cam Jordan, who just gets better with age. You know, he's 33, but he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Um, and then they have, like you said, they have weapons. They have Olave, who I am very excited about, even though he will be playing the Falcons twice a year. So AJ Terrell will be locking him down, so he's not going to be actually that good. You got Jarvis Landry. You got who's their tight end? Is it Adam Troutman? Is that his name or something?
Yeah,
Or Troutman, something
I think
like
it's
that.
Troutman.
It's something along those lines. Michael Thomas, if he's healthy, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he broke the receptions record. So he's nothing to sleep on. Yeah, it was a tough choice. Even San Fran, I could see them sneaking in if Trey Lance plays good.
Yeah, it's all about Trey Lance. Like you never really know.
Maybe, and even you got to give the Commanders some love. Maybe
Oh,
not,
with that
maybe
defense,
not a lot of love, but you definitely got to consider them sneaking in.
they got their defense is healthy, and I mean, say what you want about Carson Wentz, but he's an upgrade over Taylor Heineke. So
Definitely,
they
without a
got better,
question.
and I think Jahan Dotson is going to be good.
I think Patterson, their running back, is going to be good.
Me too. I don't know about Gibson.
Not high on Gibson.
No, we'll see
All
though.
right. Good talk. With that, we're gonna. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We're not done yet. We're gonna keep talking a bit.
Dang it.
Shucks. Um,
Episode
let's
6.
move into some Kevin Durant talks.
Jeez Louise, this man, he's crazy. Okay, this guy gets a $4 million, $4 million,
4 million.
4-year contract. He is the player who got Steve Nash the head coaching job because he didn't want to be head coached by somebody who had experience. He wanted to have Kevin Durant wanted to be the head coach basically. He was basically the general manager. Whatever he said went. And
You
he tried.
brought in Kyrie.
Yeah, so he was basically the head coach. He was basically the general manager, and he got a big 4-year extension. And before day one of his 4-year extension, he wants everybody that he brought in to leave, or him. It was one or the other, which I think is insane of him to do. They like if they won already and it was all good, then sure. But you wanted Kyrie Irving, you wanted James Harden. You three barely played together, and then you wanted James Harden gone. Ben Simmons was brought in. Ben Simmons didn't play at all. You guys have won one playoff series for this general manager. Um, I like how the general by the sounds of it, how the general manager stands. He was basically like, you got to give me something here. Like, we've given you the world and you haven't given us anything, and now you want to either leave or kick everybody else out, basically. So Kevin Durant's going to be staying for this year. I feel like Kyrie Irving's deal ends at the end of this year, so maybe this team. I mean, this team's stacked. Like, you got Ben Simmons, you got Kyrie, you got Kevin Durant, you got Joe Harris, you got Claxton, you got Seth Curry, you've got what's his name?
Cam Thomas is still there.
TJ Warren.
TJ Warren is there.
Yeah, they got like this team could make if they make the finals. Kyrie Irving wants to leave at the end of his contract, let him leave, and then if Kevin Durant wants to go, then he can leave. But as the general manager, speaking to Kevin Durant, like, you got to be saying, you got to give me something here. Like, you haven't even taken one day.
It was crazy. The fact that for 2.5 months he requested a trade, and all of a sudden one day they just sit down and say, "Yep, okay, I'm playing." It makes no sense. Like, I feel like he's just doing this for popularity, for like a popularity contest. Like, he's Kevin Durant. He's one of the best players ever to play basketball, probably one of the greatest scorers of all time, and he's out here just saying, "Trade me." Then all of a sudden a day they sit down. "All right, let's go win a championship." Like, what? This makes no sense.
Well, here's my opinion. Um, I think, and obviously it hasn't been confirmed, nothing's came out of this meeting yet, but I think what happened is he sat down with the general manager, he sat down with the head coach. I think they told him, listen, you haven't played a single day of your new 4-year contract. We are not trading you. You have no leverage here. And as a general manager and as a coach, I feel like there's some players you can't say that to, but I feel like Kevin Durant is one of those players because Kevin Durant's only options are play or sit.
Don't play.
And I
don't get paid.
think Kevin Durant is such a baller that he loves basketball way too much. Like, Kevin Durant loves basketball more than most players in the NBA. He's not a guy that will sit out. So as the general manager, knowing this, I think he straight up said to Kevin Durant, "You are not going anywhere. You are playing this year, like it or not." And
Did
I
you
think
did
Kevin
you
Durant has
see
nothing.
did you see Patrick Beverley's reaction?
Yeah, he was mad because which is funny because, of course, Patrick Beverley's going to say he's mad because it affected his free agency and other players' free agency. But let's not act like Pat Bev was a high
No,
priority.
I don't think he was talking about Pat Bev. I actually completely agree with what Pat Bev said. If you guys didn't see Pat Bev's tweet, the second the news about KD came out, he said, "Y'all can sit and don't say nothing, but that ain't cool. It's dudes with families out here who haven't got a job because of this KD shit. And to be on and off ain't cool." I totally
I
agree with
agree for
what he's
sure.
saying. There has been so many free agents that probably have not gotten deals based on teams have been seeing, "Hey, we might be in with KD. We can't sign you because we might not have cap space after this KD trade." I totally agree with that. There's probably guys who won't get contracts now because of that, because
For
they're no
sure.
longer being thought of. They no longer can bring in KD. They're like, "Okay, we don't want you anymore." And they just don't have jobs anymore. I totally agree with what Pat Bev said. And the fact that KD just got away with it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree too. It's like these players, like you said, aren't going to get contracts, or they will, but now that it's this much later in free agency and teams don't have as much cap space, it's going to be for a less amount. And these are the players that actually need the money, the players that are still sitting in free agency, not you, Kevin Durant. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with Pat Bev's tweet for sure. Of course, it was Pat Bev to be the one to say it, but I definitely agree.
And then KD responded to his tweet and said, "#blame KD."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kevin Durant, he's just,
Okay.
yeah.
So now that KD and Kyrie are probably going to be back in the East, let's go through and let's see what teams are going to make the playoffs in this East Division.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a team, and you're just going to tell me yes if you think they're going to make the playoffs, and no, and then play in. Play in is from 8 to 10. Remember,
Yeah. Okay.
7 to 10. Sorry.
Yeah.
Milwaukee 1 through 6 play in or
Yep.
out.
1 through 6. There's
1
one of
through
my
6. Miami,
2 of 6.
Brooklyn,
3 of 6.
Charlotte,
One of my plans.
Detroit,
Not making it.
Toronto,
They're in the top 6. They're 4 of 6.
Indiana,
Not making it.
Orlando,
Not making it.
Chicago.
This is so tough. I only have one more team in the 6. They're going to be a play-in team.
No, you got 2 more. You only got 4.
Oh, yeah, right. They're a play-in team.
Atlanta,
Play-in.
Boston,
5 of 6.
and Philly,
6 of 6.
Washington,
No.
New York.
How many teams do I got left?
You got 2. I think these last 2 teams you have making the play-in.
New York and the Cavs?
Yeah.
I only have one more play-in, so I got to pick one of them.
Between one of those 2.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Cavs because I have.
You had Charlotte, you had Chicago, you had Atlanta, and you have the Cavs in the play-in.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That is very fair.
Toronto could definitely easily be in that play-in. You could have like a team like Chicago or the Cavs being the 6, but they're interchangeable. Do you have any teams that I didn't have make it to the play-in?
No, none.
Do you have any teams I had in the play-in being in the top 6?
I am switching Chicago and Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn still makes the play, and I don't think KD and Kyrie play all the games. I'm not a believer.
I think they will be a top 2 seed in the East.
Wow, that's saying that Kyrie and KD are actually going to play every single game.
I'm assuming they play at least 60 games.
Pretty sure Kyrie's not playing any back-to-backs.
Probably not, we'll see. Kevin Durant can do it on his own in the regular season. Plus, you got Ben Simmons. We'll see.
Right. Now, to finish it off, me and Brandon were in a second fantasy draft yesterday. There's 12 teams. We are going to go through our teams, and I want you to I'll go through mine, and you tell me what you think of my team and where you think each of my players are going to end up position-wise, what their ranking will be at the end of the year.
Did you check the final standings projection?
I did.
I'm last.
Yep, you are dead last. I thought.
You know what though? I see why. So I'm not being cocky. I think in our dynasty league, I have a really good team.
I agree.
So
I would agree.
In this league, I wanted to make it interesting. I picked a lot of players. Basically, all my players are boom bust. So I could be really good or really bad.
I'm gonna be dead honest. The whole time that you were drafting, I thought you were Ethan.
You thought I was Ethan?
Yeah, because Max's name is Team ET's Fruity, so I thought Ethan would go back at Ethan, or Ethan would go back at Max and be Max won't win.
No, I said Max won't win.
Yeah. All right, let's go through my team. I'm predicted to finish 6th, so right in the middle because there's 12 teams. I was actually pretty happy with my draft. So my starting lineup is my quarterback, Lamar Jackson, running back 1, DeAndre Swift, running back 2, Ezekiel Elliott, wide receiver 1, Devonte Adams, wide receiver 2, DK Metcalf. My tight end is Dalton Schultz. My flex at the moment is Rashad Bateman. I got the Packers D, who I was just highly talking about, and I have Ryan Sukup, the Tampa Bay kicker. And my bench consists of Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jarvis Landry, Raheem Mostert, Carson Wentz, and I currently have Michael Gallup on IR. I think that was a sneaky pick. So I'm the 3rd last round.
Very
I saw him sitting there. I'm like, yep. So I currently have him on the IR, so I could technically pick up a player right now, but there's really nobody I want to pick up. So yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, do you think 6 is a good spot for me right now?
Yeah, I mean, like that we saw when we used ESPN the first time, that projection was way off. Like it had Scott like sixth or whatever, and he ended up winning. I think your team's very good. I really like your team. Lamar is going to be QB1. I think Swift and or Elliott could be running back ones. At worst, I think Swift will be a running back one regardless. Ezekiel Elliott at the worst will be a running back two. Devonte Adams will obviously be a wide receiver one. DK Metcalf could be a really sneaky wide receiver one. Definitely a wide receiver two at worst. Dalton Schultz, a lot of the podcasts I've been listening to have him as a top 4 tight end this year, just because there's no targets there in Dallas. Rashad Bateman, again, he is, other than Mark Andrews, he is the only target in Baltimore. So really good pickup. Defense and kicker don't really matter, so I'll skip over them. Kareem Hunt, if Nick Chubb gets hurt, could be a very good pickup, but in his own, Kareem Hunt catches a lot of passes, so I really like that. Rashad Penny, other than the rookie, is the one running back there right now. We were talking about MVS earlier. Could be a wide receiver one that you drafted in probably the 10th round.
Yeah, I don't know if you can look at history about where I drafted him. 110th overall.
Yeah, exactly. Drafted him in the 10th round, or yeah, the 10th round. Could be a wide receiver one. Jarvis Landry, I think, if Michael Thomas is out and Chris Olave isn't the player we think he is, Jarvis Landry could be a high wide receiver too. Raheem Mostert, I think, needs injuries to happen.
I picked him as a depth running back in the 15th round. I don't really have any plans to start him.
But I mean, if you're gonna pick players at the bottom like that, pick players with upside. And if an injury happens, Mostert has a lot of upside. And then Carson Wentz is a good backup when Lamar Jackson's on his bye, and then Michael Gallup, when he comes back, he will be the number 2 target on an offense that only has like 3 targets. I really like your team.
Thank you. I was actually very happy with it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over your team. You
definitely doesn't sound as good. Like I said, I went for a lot of boom bust players. I could put up 200 points in a week. I could put up 40. My
40 and Justin Jefferson gets all 40 of your points.
Yeah, my starting quarterback is Trey Lance. Then my 2 running backs are Leonard Fournette and J.K. Dobbins. My wide receivers are Justin Jefferson and Dante Johnson. My tight end is Noah Fant. My flex right now is Allen Robinson, who I think is going to have a breakout season. My bench, well, I have the Browns defense and the Chargers kicker. I picked Chargers kicker because they're going to score a lot of points. My bench is Drake London. Noah probably really likes him. I got Chase Edmonds, Alan Lazard, Damian Pierce, Trevor Lawrence, what's his first name? Jalen Tolbert, and Kenneth Gainwell. So a lot of upside, a lot of downside.
Yes, for sure. Trey Lance, I think he's a high QB2 with QB1 upside, depending on how he does. I think
you're going to be able to say that about most of my people.
Fits right in. Leonard Fournette, I think, is a low running back 1 option with high running back 2. J.K. Dobbins is one of the biggest question marks on this team, considering he's coming off a torn ACL, and they do have guys like Mike Davis, who they picked up for depth. It'll be interesting. I think he's more of a bust potential than a boom, or not.
Probably.
I think he's really a boomer bust player. Either he's going to get you 5 points a week or he's going to get you 15. Yeah. Justin Jefferson is your stud. Obviously, he's your stud receiver. I think he's going to have a amazing season.
I wanted to go running back 1 because running back is always the best position to go, but I was drafting 8th and Justin Jefferson was still there at 8. Like I had to.
Yeah. That's a good pick. Dante Johnson, I actually really like him. He does drop a lot of passes. He's had drop issues in the past, at least. So if he can catch the ball, he's the number 1 target in Pittsburgh. Noah Fant's a shaky one, in my opinion. I think he's another very big boomer bust. I don't know what type of other tight ends are on the board. Remember you were picking.
None. There was none. I was the last person to pick a tight end.
I do like the upside on Allen Robinson. I think him and Stafford have shown very good connections so far in the preseason and in training camps. So I do like that pick. Browns always have a good defense. I do like Drake London. Chase Edmonds is looking like he's going to be the number one back to start the season in Miami. But he also was the starting back last year in Arizona, and James Conner took that by the end of the year. So he's another big boomer bust guy.
Yeah.
Lazard, boomer bust. It'll be interesting to see if he can find a connection with Aaron Rodgers. Damian Pierce, I was literally gonna draft him, and you friggin' came in and swooped right in front of me.
Thank you.
Because I think he's gonna be the number one back in Houston.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence, I would honestly even consider starting over Trey Lance just because we know what he can do. He's a steady quarterback going into his second year. Tolbert, until Gallup gets back, I think he'll get targets. And Kenneth Gainwell, if Miles Sanders is not producing, I think they will turn to him pretty quickly.
I should change my team name to Boomer Bust.
You really should. You should stand in the Boomers.
I could win any week, and I could get absolutely blown out.
Oh, easily. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
I think you have a really good team.
That is our fantasy teams for
and then
1 year.
Then we got Dynasty, where me and Noah came first and second, and we'll be running it back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. If I could pick up a damn running back, no, it's a fucking trade with me, man.
I'm trying to trade with Braden, and as you guys probably know from the podcast, Braden he's a hard man to talk to. I send Braden trades, and if I send you a trade, you counter it, and then we discuss.
Yesterday, and our talks just went null.
Exactly, that's what happens. Me and Noah make a trade every day. I send a trade to him, he counters me. The next day, he sends a trade, I counter him, and then we chat, and then we never make a trade. Braden, I send him a trade every single day, and I just get a notification, your trade's been declined. He doesn't text me. He doesn't make a counter. It's just decline. So I text him. I'm like, you don't like texting or countering, eh? He's like, no. It's kind of hard to make trades that way. He's like, yeah, probably. And then the conversation just ended.
That does not shock me. Yeah. Braden is also the only player we had to set our rookie draft. Braden was the only player to take a kicker.
Yeah, my last 3 picks of the draft were tight end, defense, kicker. I just waited.
No, I mean for dynasty.
Oh, he took a kicker in our dynasty rookie guy.
A rookie kicker. Whenever you can find a better, I bet you can find a better kicker than him in free agency.
A good kicker is going to put up 10 points a week.
The thing is, when I was trying to trade up with him to pick Ritter, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I kind of want to make this pick because I don't want my guy to go. His guy was the kicker.
No one was taking him.
No one was taking the kicker.
Oh, that's the thing I don't think a lot of people understand. Like a good week for a kicker is 10 points. A bad week is like 4. 6 points don't mean nothing in realms of fantasy. Like you can just waiver wire a kicker. Like
fair. That's facts. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I want to get a guy that can make 50 point kicks with ease. I'm like, every friggin' NFL kicker can make 50-yard kick with ease. It just matters what type of situation they're in.
Exactly. It's funny. It's funny. Anyways,
maybe next episode we'll go through all the dynasty teams, and we'll rank. Me and you will rank who we think's gonna. We could do that for next episode. But I think this will wrap it up.
Well, the day this podcast releases, you're in a big tournament.
Yeah, golf, and then we have baseball.
Yeah, what's your expectation?
Well, it's a scramble, and we have my father playing. He shot a 33 in men's night on Monday, so he was very happy. He's playing the best golf of his life. He birdied 8 from the yellows.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's very tough. So basically, we're relying on my drives to go straight, his approach shot, Brady's approach shot, and my dad's putting. McLaren is useless. I hope he watches this and hears that.
That'd be funny.
That's basically how it's gonna work. My drives
scramble.
4-man. It's literally just 4-man scramble. You play 4-man best ball.
Yeah. Before you guys go and play, because by the time this releases, you will be on the golf course.
I will be if you guys watch this right when it's released, I will be golfing right now.
So we can look back on this next podcast. Give me a score expectation.
18 holes. If we're 5 under, that's a good day.
Oh my gosh, you guys should be able to score 5 under easily.
Okay. I'm gonna go 8 under.
So for example, our Friday golf, we did a scramble and 12 under won it, and 6 under was the worst score.
What were we in the Lindsay Meyer tournament? with me.
We were like 11.
7 or 8.
What?
We were 7 or 8
You
because
sure?
the winning team was 11, and we were like 3 or 4.
But remember, it was stupid windy.
Yes, it was
Stupid windy.
I think if we can be at 8 under, I don't think we're gonna win because you have there's another team of the 3 Hogues and Ronnie Grizel.
Yeah, they're gonna be good.
That team's gonna win. If we can shoot 8 under, I think we'll be happy.
Okay, so we're holding you to 8 under. So we'll
8 under, and we are gonna go 6-0 and win, or 5-0 and win the B championships in baseball.
That would be ideal.
That's gonna do it for today. We'll see you next week. If everything goes to plan, we will have an interview. Stay tuned. Follow our Instagram because you will get sneak peeks probably 2 days before of who that interviewee will be. So check the link or check the description to find our Instagram handle. But with that, we will see you next week.
Peace.